A black screen reading George Rogers Clark presents Virtual Clark March, Open and Flooded Prairie. It is a cloudy day with the bare trees, several people wearing frontiersman colonial clothing, carrying rifles and flags, walk down a road. A young woman is next to them. She is the narrator. She is wearing colonial clothing.
There are other sides in this story. Henry Hamilton, the British Lieutenant Governor, wrote in his journal on the eve of February 22nd that Mr. Masonville told me he had on his return discovered 14 fires on the east side of the Wabash, about 4 leagues below the fort. He concluded that they must be Virginians. He would send off Captain Lamoth with a sergeant, 14 volunteers, and 6 men of the King's Regiment to scout the land, even though the British thought that moving an army in the winter floods was impossible, but better safe than sorry. Hamilton would later write the account given by them of what passed the preceding night was that the waters being out where they were obligated to take a circuit by the heights lost their way. Clark and his men were wanting a surprise attack, and fearing discovery would not have built fires even though it was cold. Captain Bowman wrote, set off to cross the plain called Horseshoe Plain, about 4 miles long, all covered with water, breast high. Here we expected some of our brave men must certainly perish, having frozen in the night and so long fasting. Before them lies the open and flooded prairie.
I know you could.
Soldier 1. A young woman stands to the left of the screen, in front of the image of several people walking down the road in frontiersman clothing on a cloudy day.
We have gone back toward the river. Before the army crossed paths with the Wabash, 3 of us with Captain McCarthy took a makeshift canoe and attempted to go upstream and steal some boats. We did not get far. We discovered 4 large fires along the banks. There appeared to be both whites and Indians at the fires. I would place both those fires over there somewhere. And if we wanted to remain undiscovered, we could not go that direction. Colonel Clark pointed to some woods in the distance and informed us, surmounting the plain that was then in full view and reaching the opposite woods would put an end to our fatigue.
Soldier 2. A young man in period clothing has replaced the young woman in front of the scene of several people walking down the road.
The canoes occasionally passed us in each direction. They would go to the rear, would pick up the weakest men, and would take them to the next hilltop. Their progress was slow, and we knew they could not reach all the men. That had me gravely concerned. We had frozen during the night, and we now were 3 days without food. How much longer could we go on? We firmly believed that some would die. The woods remained in sight, but seemed impossibly out of reach.
Soldier 1 has replaced Soldier 2.
I was both the first and the last to reach this 10-acre copse of dry ground. That's because I was paddling one of the canoes and had to come and go quite a bit from here. Who knows how many times I went back and forth, picking up the weakest men as fast as I could. My arms were about to fall off. Fighting the force of the deep water with a dugout canoe was really hard. But we knew that some of the men would not make it without our help. The plain offered neither shrubs nor vegetation for the men to cling onto, and many made little progress forward. Each trip we raced to the rear of the line to pick up the men who were in the worst of conditions. Yet the marching men passed on our shuttles, seemed to barely be able to stand, let alone make progress forward. We simply did not have enough room in the canoes for all of them. With each trip, I promised to return, and each time I expected to find that I was too late for some.
Credits: Lincoln High School Youth Advisory Council. Zoe Herron, Emmett Ranson, Courtney Weinmiller, Delaney Anthus, and Sasha Banzan. Advisor: Miss Haley Lancaster. Filming: Lincoln High School Radio, TV, Film Class. Teacher: Rick Lang.